What I really like in Japan is the respect for the authority. When you arrive, whatever you say, you are the chef, so they will follow what you say. And really, really precise. In Singapore, no offense to Singaporean, but they will question you. They will say, oh chef, why you do this, why you do that? Try to challenge you. In Japan, no. In Japan, you say blue, they make blue. They won't question. If you say something, if you are here, it's because you know what you do, so they will follow what you say.
Hey there, and thank you for tuning in. We're excited to bring you another great conversation today. If you like the show and want to support us, please hit the subscribe button so we can keep bringing you great content week after week. And if you're feeling extra generous, give this video a like and share your thoughts and comments down below. Thank you so much. And now, let's get into it. Welcome to Unpacking Japan. I'm Toby, and in the studio we are sitting today with Julien. Thank you so much for coming. You're the executive pastry chef of the Park Hyatt Tokyo, also in charge of the Asia Pacific region for the Hyatt Group. So plenty of hotels, plenty of cakes that you are supervising. Very excited to have you here today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Talk about your journey to Japan and also take a look at pastries here in Japan, how they're made, what is special, what is different from what you maybe grew up with. And like with all our guests, I want to start at the beginning a little bit with what brought you to Japan?
Well, what brought me to Japan? That's a very good question. Firstly, thank you again for having me. Very happy to be here today. Well, I was in Taiwan before during the COVID, and then COVID arrived, hit the world, like we said. And at that time, I couldn't stay in Taiwan for my previous hotel, financial reason. And so I had to move, and then I have plenty of opportunity within the group. I was like 5 years already with the Hyatt Group. And then they offered me 3 options to move, and one of them was Park Hyatt Tokyo. And I don't even remember the last 2, because when they proposed me Park Hyatt Tokyo, I think like maybe 2 seconds before I take my decision to come in Japan.
It's quite an iconic hotel. Also, the place where the movie Lost in Translation is set.
Correct.
So
the hotel and this movie are super linked together, actually. There is like, I don't know, maybe 50, 60 guests coming every day just to have a picture at the bar with a Century glass. So we are very, very linked to this movie. And actually, I'm thinking about creating a cake with a Lost in Translation. So recently, I asked all my staff to watch the movie again, to come out with some ideas, because we don't want to have just a whiskey kind of cake, but maybe something a little bit more related to that movie. So work on the process.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
And so that hotel is currently under renovation.
Correct.
It's scheduled to be reopening maybe later this year.
Hopefully at the end of the year, waiting for final confirmation. But we are getting ready. Yeah.
So now at this hotel, you're the executive pastry chef.
Correct. For 5 years now.
Before we dive into this, I'm curious a little bit about how did you get into pastries? You write on your website that at 12-year-old, you already kind of told your parents, like, I want to be a pastry chef.
Correct. Yeah. So actually, I don't even remember when and how, because, it was so natural to me that just wanted to be a pastry chef. And then I tell that my parents, actually my parents remind me that, because for me it was just natural. I believe in my family, every time we have a celebration, a birthday or whatever, we always eat cakes. We cannot finish a meal without something sweet. And I feel every time we put something sweet on the table, everybody is super happy. Everybody was like, wow. And when I started baking with my mom, I was a teenager. Mm-hmm. And every time we put the cake on the table and I saw the face of my family so happy, and I'm like, that's what I want to do. I want to make people happy. So I think unconsciously, I wanted to make people happy. And that's my way of bringing happiness to the world, if I can say, humbly.
By making sweets for everyone to enjoy.
Yes, correct.
So pretty early on, you start, I imagine, having fun at home and trying to make some things. But then you went kind of to this vocational school and you learned how to do pastries professionally.
Correct. Actually, I was very lucky because next to my home, like 5 kilometers away, is one of the best schools in France, which calls École Saint-Joseph in Concarneau, which I was, just close by. And then before entering the school, every year, they do like open gate, like we said, for the future student to visit the school. And the 3 years prior to the time I can really goes to like that school, I always visit. So I already know the teacher. The teacher knows me. Oh, Julien, welcome back. We can't wait to welcome you to the school. So I was ultra motivated. Yeah.
What do you learn in a pastry school? How is it different than, for example, if you learn to become a baker?
Yeah.
What exactly falls under the category of pastry?
So actually, the school I've been formed to become a pastry chef, open a pastry shop in Brittany, where I originally come from. I didn't get the education to be a pastry chef in a hotel or in a palace in Paris or to be an international pastry chef. Not at all. I really have this education and be formatted to open a pastry shop and a bakery shop in my hometown. So, but I never did that. So actually, of course, I learned a lot of things, a lot of the basics. And when I've been graduated from the school, I go to Paris directly to actually learn more and continue.
So you kind of learn under like a famous chef, a pastry chef in Paris?
Yeah, I moved to Paris to work under MOF. So it's the guys who have the French flags, on the collars. And then this is like the best craftsman and really actually the top chefs that you can learn with. So I've been lucky enough to work with one of them. He was Baker Moff. So I was doing the pastry during my normal working day, and then after work, I stay longer, like in the afternoon or sometimes in the evening, to learn about bakery, because when I was at school, I was only for pastry, not bakery. So I learned like that a lot about breads and everything. I wanted to make sure I know how to do everything about the job, like not only specialized on chocolate or specialized on specific cake, but knows mostly everything if possible. Yeah.
What falls under the category of pastry?
Actually, there's a lot of different things because, well, pastry, you will make the cakes, right? But there's also confectionery, when you need to learn about the candy, about the marshmallow, for example, about all those kind of like caramel candies and everything. Then you have chocolate, which is another department, if I may say, or different specialty. Chocolate is also very, very specific. You have a lot of different things. Then you have the world of ice cream and gelato, sorbet, and everything.
So that falls into the category of pastry?
It's under pastry. I think patisserie is really englobing all of those art. And then you have several categories on there where you can get really specialized. And ice cream is one of them. Yeah, and all those guys who's doing the ice sculptures and everything. So it's also under this category.
So very early on, you get interested in pastries. You go to a school that is famous, but kind of training you originally to be like the local pastry shop. And you quickly realize that's not for me. So you go...
It was not enough.
Not enough.
Yeah.
So you move to Paris and then you work under some very famous pastry chefs. What was it like to suddenly, I imagine, being in a very demanding environment where you have to be kind of always at the top of your game?
Yeah. So when I was in Paris, it was... I was quite in my young age, I would say. I was like around 19, 20 years old. I was also very into party and stuff like that, So, of course, I was also waiting for the weekends, to enjoy my life, I would say. But of course, yes, I learned a lot of things under a very different environment, and come from Brittany. The environment of working was much more relaxed. Arriving in Paris, much more bigger pressure. But also a very good time for learning. And also, yes, as you said, the atmosphere, the city is, it's demanding, it's different than what you can find in Brittany. So, I learned a lot of things and very, very interesting.
And still not enough. So you decide to go abroad. And
after that I think it's, everything is about meeting the people. And at that time, I always work with feelings, I never have a plan like when I was in Paris. Yeah, I know I wanted to be a pastry chef, but where and when and where, I didn't know. So at that time, I had the opportunity to go to Canada, to Montreal, with my ex-girlfriend at that time. And then when I arrived in Canada, it was fantastic. It's like, I've been so well welcomed. Like, oh, welcome, because they were struggle to find pastry chefs. And I arrived in a company called Première Moisson. And, I was also in Canada to learn some English, because I couldn't speak very well English at that time. And I feel like the opportunity was so great in Canada because that's the kind of place where if you work hard, then they will give you more responsibility, and you pay by week. So you can really see the difference. Yeah, actually, you're very happy every Saturday or Friday, I forget, and then the weekends come, and then you got your salary.
It
But
sounds
it's
very stressful too, right?
it's a bit stressful in the meantime. But the good thing is like what I feel is because I really working hard and also never enough for me. So I was first assigned to whip the cream. So I whipped the cream for 3 months, like I don't know how many kilo of cream I was whipping, but just to make the mousse and these kind of things. And then I wanted to go to the department where actually people decorating the cakes, because I knew how to make the cake, but the decoration, that's something I always wanted to do. And then slowly, I mean, not even slowly, but every like 2-3 months later, I got like promotion, and 2-3 months later, another promotion. And in 1 year, I doubled my yearly salary. I was like 13 Canadian dollar, I think, my salary. And then like a few months later, it was like already double, because that's what I really enjoy in Canada. That they really give you the opportunity to grow. You want to work harder? Yes, go ahead, work harder. They will support you. And
it's interesting because my image of doing that in France is if you kind of go the career of the pastry chef, it seems like it's very difficult to grow and establish yourself unless you become executive pastry chef at like maybe a large hotel in Paris.
In France, I don't have so much experience to work in hotel, but from what I heard, to grow, you have to work on other people. You know what I mean? You have to, make your place and fight harder. And it's not very an environment in the one I wanted to work actually, because I feel like it's always a kind of fight all the time, and not really like because you are a good pastry chef. It's not only because of that you grow. You have to fight for yourself, and sometimes like with your own fist, right?
Kitchens can be a pretty tough environment.
Correct. Especially in France, yeah. And we talk about 25 years ago, so it was even worse.
When was the first time you actually worked in a hotel?
First hotel for me was in Qatar, in Doha, for an opening as a hotel called La Cigale Hotel. So that was the experience right after Canada, where I really enjoy and to put my feet into like a hotel. And on top of that, it was an opening. So I was there 1 year before the opening. So pre-opening, really have the time, to understand exactly what we're gonna do. Was a lot of other French chefs, so it was easy to communicate. And we were having the biggest gourmet shop in the Middle East at that time.
Wow!
So it was a really big project. The owner was the king of Qatar, so unlimited budget, amazing kitchen, amazing equipment, and we had like this gourmet shop. We actually regroup all about pastry. So like I said, we have ice cream, but Arabic ice cream, French ice cream, gelato, and then on the side you have waffle, pancake, all these kind of American desserts and delicacy. And the other side we have plenty of cakes, like French cakes, like I don't know, opéra, entremet, small one, big one, huge one, chocolate, a lot of things. So very, very interesting experience.
That must be a huge change again, to kind of work, to go from pastry shop to a hotel environment with so much budget, so many people, so many, and first time in the hotel world, which also kind of brings in maybe a different clientele as well.
Exactly, yeah. That's why it was challenging and at the same time exciting, because well, when I was working in a pastry shop or something like that, I feel like, in a pastry shop, you need to do every day the same things, every day, because people coming back for the dessert or the bread you're making. What excites me in the hotel is like basically you touch everything, because in a hotel you have pastry shop, but you have also a restaurant. Then you have event where you need to make like banqueting. Sometimes it's buffet. You also have to do afternoon tea. So it's never the same day every day. You have a lot of things to think, to create. And a lot of time people ask me, "Oh, chef, what's your specialty?" And my answer for this question is really like humbly. I think in the pastry, my specialty is I try to know how to do everything. Like I know how to do bread, how to do viennoiserie, how to do cake, but also like a big one, small one, miniatures. I know how to do chocolate. I know a little bit of sugar heart. So the specialty, I think, for a hotel chef, it's really to know how to make everything, and that's the hardest part, I believe.
One of the things you pointed out as well is when you have your local shop, people come back because you do something very well and they want it again and again. When you're in a hotel, hotels are always trying to kind of play with the seasons and always have
Correct.
new menus to get people to come back, because
Also,
people
yeah.
get maybe bored or used to something very
So
quickly.
it also depends on the hotel. The hotel, for example, in Hyatt Tokyo, we have some signature dish, which really people's coming back for that. A few like a tonka bean tart, for example, or the Mont Blanc croissant, which is two specialty that we always have to make sure that people are coming for that. But as you said, we also play with season, changing the menu, doing promotion. So I always need to work in advance, like 6 to 8 months prior to what's going to happen, because I need time to create, I need time to plan, I need time to prepare for the next menu and the next and the one after. So yeah, it's always like a lot of things to plan ahead. Yeah.
When you were working in a hotel in Qatar, did you then kind of really start realizing, oh, this is the right environment for me?
I believe so,
working
yeah.
as a pastry chef in hotels.
I believe so, because I feel the energy, it's quite different. And I was always like, at that time, I was a chef de partie, so a CDP. I was not a chef at all. But I was moved around because the executive chef understand that first I can do different things and I want to do different things, which is not like everyone. I mean, not some people like to do all the time the same things, not too much change. But for me, it's like, no, I get bored too fast, so I need to change. So basically, yeah, I was like CDP tournant, we say in French. So it's like turning around, and go to help. So sometimes from one week to another, I don't know what I'm going to do the next week. Depending on the team I will be assigned to work with. So it was very exciting. And again, I learned a lot of things because I was always working directly with the chef. Well, since I was French, of course, all the different chefs were also French. So they were very happy to have someone like me to basically help them also to create. So now it was an amazing experience.
So you continued your career in hotels. Eventually, it brought you to Taiwan and then to Japan.
Correct.
How was it for you when you kind of first arrived in Japan and kind of took your position at the Park Hyatt Tokyo in a new environment, new culture, where you have to adapt to the working environment, but also to the new type of customers?
Correct. So actually, when I arrived in Japan, it was a very, very special moment because it was in December 2020. So I start first with quarantine in the hotel because it was really in the middle of the COVID. And then I had this big chance actually to join this hotel during COVID, because the hotel Park Hyatt Tokyo is very, very famous for being super busy, like very, very busy hotel. And I know my predecessor, the pastry chef before, where some of them like burnout because too busy. So when I arrived in this hotel, I was a bit scared about how I'm going to manage that. And I arrived in a quiet environment. The restaurant was almost empty. The hotel was 4% occupancy, which is usually 98 to 100% occupancy, full blast. So I arrived in this hotel. It was really like slow. And I was like, wow, that's a big chance for me to change the things. And change the things is not an easy thing, as you may know, in Japan. So at the beginning, it was a little bit difficult for me to, I had the time. I need to understand first, okay, what it is about, how is the kitchen working, what guests expecting and everything. So it takes me a few months to make sure, before I change, I make sure I understand. And again, since I had the opportunity that this hotel was finally quiet, it was much easier for me to basically change and put my creation alive, actually.
Having worked in so many international hotels around the world and seen different kitchens, international, local, how was it? How was it the kitchen in Japan? How did they work? Was there anything that surprised you when you arrived?
So actually, I'm living for 22 years in Asia now, and yes, still after that much year in Asia, Japan surprised me. It's different code, different environment. So at the beginning, it was like I have like I feel my experience in Asia was of course helping, but was not enough to. I really have to take my time to rethink and understand again the culture, because it was different than what I know. Despite the fact that I came like probably 10 times in holiday in Japan before actually come to live in Japan. So I knew a little bit about the food, the culture, everything. But coming as a tourist and coming to work in a kitchen, it's two different things. And then it was not so tough at the beginning, because I had the chance to be very well managed by my previous executive chef, who really drive me, and also my previous GM. Both of them were French, living a few years in Japan. So I was very well drived. And then, of course, coming in with Park Hyatt Tokyo to live in Japan, they put you in a very, very well, how to say, they handle everything for you, Basically, I always say that because during COVID it was very special, but to open a bank account, the bank came to the hotel for me to open a bank account.
The bank came to the hotel?
Yeah, this kind of things. So you can imagine how well I've been helped.
It sounds like Park Hyatt is not only extending service to the customers, but also to the employees.
Yeah. Correct, yes. And they did that also because it was COVID. Also, it was a special things. But then, to find an apartment or to all the kind of things that we have to do when you arrive in a new country, which sometimes can be a big headache. Well, they help me. HR department is coming with me, to translate everything. So, you feel like you are very well welcome, and then put in this position to make sure you give 100% at work. That all the things on the side and all the things that on your private life, they will help you to handle that, to make sure it's not painful. Then you can give 100% to your assignment.
So in the kitchen, you mentioned that, for example, in Qatar, you were chef de partie. So it's a rank in the kitchen. You're responsible for a certain amount of things. All these terms come from France. Yes. And so you arrive in the kitchen in Tokyo. I imagine the structure is the same, but were the responsibilities the same? If you have a chef de partie in Tokyo and a chef de partie in Taiwan, will they know the same?
Yeah, I think it's basically the same, because it's like a army kind of level, and then organization. Everything has been in every kitchen is about the same. So you always have the executive chef, but on top, then after sous chef, chef de partie, demi chef de partie, commis, and we have new graduate, which is really the new one who just start the work. That's something new in Japan. Before we have commis is the beginning, but then in Japan you have the new graduate, the first year.
Interesting.
They just come out the school, and so it's basically everywhere the same. But what I really like in Japan is the respect for the authority. So basically, it's like when you arrive, whatever you say, you are the chef, so they will follow what you say, and really, really precise. In some other country, let's say, for example, in Singapore, no offense to Singaporean, but they will question you. They will say, "Oh, chef, why you do this? Why you do that?" Try to challenge you. In Japan, no. In Japan, you say blue, they make blue. Not a cake, but
interesting.
But they are very they won't question. If you say something, if you are here, it's because you know what you do, so they will follow what you say.
When you arrive at the Park Hyatt Tokyo, first you meet your team. You see who is there, who's doing what. You have to evaluate also how good people are at each of these things. But then also very quickly, I imagine you take a look at the menu. What are they actually currently making?
Exactly.
And what was on the menu that kind of surprised you? Something that you...
I was surprised by something very, very right away, is because they have 3 recipes for chocolate cake. And I was like, why you have one recipe to put the cake inside the ice cream? Why you have a recipe in New York Grill, which is our famous steakhouse? It's a different type of recipe. And then in the pastry boutique, you have a different type of chocolate cake. Why can't you make one recipe and maybe a little twist, put some nuts inside or something, but at least the base of the recipe would be the same? Because I was wondering why they do 3 different recipes. So I feel after that, because the chefs before, they have the signature recipe. So my previous, the previous chef that worked before me, they create a special cake, special signature. And when they left, the team continued to do it because people like it. But they never think about, oh, this chef left, maybe we can change the cake. No, they respect the chef from before. So they always keep the recipe from what has been done before. And I was like, okay, I think for me, it's time to break the wheel and actually to rethink a little bit about how to be more productive, how to be more, I would say à la page, which means like 2025, 2020 at the time. Because I was thinking sometimes when I arrive, a lot of things like very old school. Of course, this hotel is classic, but classic doesn't mean you cannot be well organized and productive. So this is what I have done the first year. I really try, to see what was wrong and how to improve the things without maybe making big changes, but just become more productive.
So as a chef, you have your own vision for pastries and your own ideas of things you want to create. And then on the other side, you also have the customers. What did you notice about Japanese customers and their preferences for pastries? Are there things that are very much so in demand and don't go out of fashion? But on the other hand, maybe things that they always want changed and they kind of...
So there is different things. A lot of Japanese people love classic cake. So I will say like a choux cream, strawberry shortcake and these kind of things. If you don't have this kind of cake in your cake shop, they won't feel like you are a real cake shop, something like that. So you still need to have those classic, that's for sure. And this will never change. But in another hand, I feel like I have the opportunity when I come to Pattaya Tokyo to bring my style, to bring my cakes. At some point, when you are a chef with some signature and you are appreciated for what you do, then I come for what I do the best. So I come and I try to bring my own cakes. Of course, and coming by Taiwan before, in Taiwan also it's the same things. People don't like sweet cakes. The cake has to be as less sweet as possible. It means the amount of sugar need to be reduced to the maximum. So in Taiwan, I already work a lot on this. So I arrived with my recipe in Japan. And then sometimes my staff was like, chef, you only put like that amount of sugar in your cakes? I said, yeah. Is there a mistake? No, it's no mistake, because they were used to probably put like 200-300 grams of sugar for 1 kilo of strawberry puree, for example. For me, I put like 30-40 grams. Because I don't want to break I want to make sure that the taste of the real fruit is still there. And people were like, my staff, my team was like, you sure it's not a mistake in the recipe? I said, no, don't worry. I know what I'm doing. And when they try and they feel like, oh yeah, actually it's not sweet at all. And I think this is what also I bring to the hotel, and people, all the guests are coming and then they try the new cakes of the chef, it's like, oh, wow, actually, yeah, it's not too sweet. And back to Taiwan, when people tell you, oh, your cake is not too sweet, it's the best comment ever you can have. They won't tell you it's good or bad. They will tell you if it's not too sweet, they are very happy. So when I arrive in Japan, I continue with this mindset, and it has been quite well received. And yeah, a lot of people were very happy about it.
You talked about the chocolate cakes, signature dishes from the previous chefs. What is your signature dish that you kind of brought to the Park Hyatt?
So there's something I bring. It's called the chocolate mama cake. So it's actually a recipe of my mom. And that's what actually one of the cake that I was baking when I was a kid. So it's still the favorite cake of my family. Usually it's just a basic chocolate cake, soft one like a fondant. And usually served with crème anglaise, so English cream on the side, vanilla. And I remove a big part of sugar of it because it was, the original recipe was a bit sweet. And I changed the chocolate that I used to bake with my mom. The chocolate we used was, the chocolate you buy in supermarket. I use a premium one, so it makes also a big difference. And it's just a classic chocolate cake, but we sell a lot every day, and it's become very popular because just simple things
How
Make-
does your mom feel like about her
She's the
recipe now
proudest.
being in the Park Hyatt Tokyo?
She's the proudest, and actually we launched it on the Moses Day. That was the first Moses Day I was in Tokyo, so on 2021 or May, I think. I forget the exact day. But I came out with the idea of launching this cake. I wanted to do it for a long time. And after talking with my marketing team in the hotel, I proposed the idea of launching this cake for Mother's Day. And wow, they love the story. And since that, we never remove it from the menu.
A nice homage.
Exactly.
When being in Japan, the Japanese customers also have a lot of seasonal ingredients that they like to see and to use across their cuisine. Come to mind yuzu, matcha, sakura,
Correct.
and more. Are these things that you had worked with before, or was it something that you kind of had to relearn? Oh, this is a new flavor. How can I incorporate this into my cakes?
Nice. Actually, well, first of all, coming to Japan for me was like a dream because, of course, I use a lot of ingredients imported from Japan before, when I was in Taiwan. And of course, one of the things which is very rare in Southeast Asia, where I used to live before, is the season. So when I arrived in Japan and then I realized like, oh, the season is really like, and then you have all those fruit, all those ingredients, the chestnut, the shine muscat, the strawberry, the citrus. I'm a big citrus fan, a huge citrus fan. And in Japan, it's like there is like 2 or 3 citrus new every year because they mix them together. It's like Yuganatsu. I didn't know about Yuganatsu before. It's fantastic. Citrus is my favorite now. Anyway, so yes, I rediscover a lot of things. I also very curious about, discover new things and trying new things. For example, the rhubarb in Japan, it's naturally sweet, much sweeter than the one in France.
Okay.
So you don't work the same way of the one you use in France, So all these kind of things, and also, for example, the shine muscat grape, the grape. In French, we don't really use grape in the pastry, It's like, there is sometimes, but maybe the dry one for the pain au raisin. There is like but the fresh grape on the tart, it's pretty rare. But in Japan, it's totally normal, So I rethink a lot about, how can I incorporate those foods because I love to work with fresh foods. That's for me the best. So how to incorporate those fresh foods into tarts, into cakes, and then it's a fantastic place to work because the nature gives us so much beautiful things. Of course, the bad part is the food cost sometimes can be quite high because the price of the food it's really high.
Japan can go very, very high.
Correct, but the quality it's amazing. So yeah, also matcha, the same things. Another story about matcha because all the place I worked before on the matcha was imported, and I was thinking, wow, the natural color of the matcha is dark green because that's the matcha I used to work before. And when I arrived in Japan, I realized the matcha, the color, it's very like a bright green color, like the leaf behind, a little bit something like that. And then I was like, what's wrong with your matcha? Is it normal like that?
What's wrong with your matcha?
Yeah, and the people look at me like, chef, I think you never really work with real matcha from Japan. And then, well, since that I realized, and I go to the farmer place to really understand about how does it work and how it is. And I realized that the matcha I used before was from the leaves that fall on the floor, basically, and then the real matcha was actually that color. And I was like, oh, okay, I understand. So yeah, it was also a nice discovery.
How do you come up with these new ideas for these creations? That's always something that's fascinated me with chefs and pastry chefs too. You have all these different ingredients, and then your mind starts thinking, oh, maybe I can combine this and this, and maybe I can use this technique here, and then I can do this cream there, and I can do this frosting like this, and then we have a new cake.
I think there's a lot of things. First of all, it's passion, and inspiration is everywhere. So basically, I never take a day off. So, it's always like you walk on the street, you go to the market, you go to buy something in the supermarket, you look at the fruit, and you think, not thinking about what you're going to eat tonight for dinner, but thinking what can I do with that in a cake. First of all, I think that's the mindset. Second thing is like, I think like sometimes when I think about what I'm gonna do in the future or whatever, it's before I sleep. So when I'm in the bed and I'm falling asleep, I think about, okay, when I do da, then I fall asleep, and then when I wake up, usually the idea is here. Alors, 70% of the idea, but I think it's something like unconsciously during the time I'm sleeping and I'm dreaming, is like I think about that, and then when I wake up, I feel okay. I will try this. I will try that, and something like that. So it's not 100% done, but it's more clear in my mind what I'm gonna do. And sometimes I wake up in the morning and I rush to go to work because I want to make sure I don't forget about the idea. So I also take a lot of notes. I also, sometimes I discover something new. Now with the social media, you're always scrolling. There's a lot of things passing by sometimes, and then, oh, this is cool. Maybe I can try something like that. So yeah, inspiration is really everywhere all the time.
Inspiration is everywhere. You mentioned you don't take a day off and you're always out and about, and every time you kind of see things being done, oh, maybe it's something I could do. If we leave the Park Hyatt Tokyo for a moment, what have you noticed in Japan about pastries in general? Going around, what sells? Are they done differently? If you take a cannelé here and a cannelé in France, are they the same? Or
for some product, I think, like for example, just to give this example because I feel it's really something, the Baumkuchen. It's originally German, but Japanese masterized it, right?
When it arrived in Kobe, the typical old Baumkuchen.
Yeah, and then, well, the Baumkuchen I tried in Germany before was a little dry and not so, not so good actually. And when I arrived in Japan, I feel, wow, you guys do it so well, so much better. So a lot of things like that. After that, for cannelé, good question. I think the best cannelé I've tried still in France, but there is a lot of cannelé that I didn't try. After that, I think in I would say in Tokyo in general, I will just take the example because I don't know so many other pastry shops outside Tokyo. I feel that a lot of chefs are there. They are all master on what they're doing. The only things maybe I will say, it's like you can go after 1 or 2 years, you will find again the same thing. They don't really change that much. They have one cake and they will do it like forever. I think it's good and bad. Why? Because I think it's good because if you like it, you can come and every time you can have it again. But it's bad because there's not so many new things coming out. Once they open their shop, and then, of course, not every shop, but most of the one I visit, it's like you always go there. They change it a bit during the season, but most of the cake will remain the same. So we are lucky enough. Also, there is a lot of different shops, so you always can go there and there and there. There's shop open all the time. One of my sous chefs also opened his shop recently, and what he's doing is really fantastic. So, I mean, it's a lot of shop to visit. My list to do, it's still very, very long. But then, yeah, there is a lot of very classic cakes that you can't find in France anymore.
Really?
Yeah, and Japanese do it so well. Like, I don't know, the dacquoise, for example, or sometimes like an old style Charlotte, or like how do you call it? The G-Boost cream before. A G-Boost is like a cream that you burn it like a crème brûlée. In France, it's very hard to find those kind of things now because, yeah, it's not fashion anymore, But in Japan, you can find those classic cake, which is like classic from maybe 15, 20 years ago, and they're still having it here. So it's fantastic.
One of the things that surprised me here in Japan is also the way people talk about these. So there are the classic cakes that have their names, crème brûlée and cannelé, and people in Japan know them. But then there's this category that is called pan. Pan, coming, I guess, from the Spanish word for bread, similar to the French word pain. But so much falls under this category. But to me, having grown up in France, I never feel like any of this is bread.
Yeah. I think when they said pan, basically it's everything is baked, I think. So like melon pan, toast bread, whatever, the red bean bread, everything is bread is about pan. But then the baguette, also part of it, right?
Yeah.
So I feel it's just like the biggest category about. It's not in French. We are very specific, you know. Like we will really like put the croissant is a croissant family is a different than the baguette family, white bread, then the wheat bread, then the soft bread. Everything will be like very well separated and categorized. I think in Japan they just put everything together and call it a big family. Call it pen, yeah.
How does this affect you at work then when you are communicating about pastries, about breads and such with Japanese chefs? And maybe you use a word to refer to some specific category, but maybe the way they call that category
at work, I don't really have this problem with my team because my team is aware. They know they are, I will say, French trained in a way because they know very well about French pastry and everything. But maybe sometimes with our guest, they will be maybe a bit confused about like, not really knowing the difference between a kouign-amann and a croissant and a brioche. It's very different things. So everything come about communication, great communication and explanation. So actually I spend a lot of time also behind the counter, sometimes to talk with the customer. Sometimes, of course, I need assistance for translation because it can be very difficult. But yes, I think if we have good communication and explanation, it's okay. But mostly the professional, I would say, they know the difference.
You mentioned that in France, people are very specific for the different categories, and you mentioned the croissant family. Because we were talking about it off camera briefly before, I want to kind of get into this. You also said earlier in our conversation that you had a Mont Blanc croissant at the Park Hyatt.
Yes.
So what exactly constitutes a croissant and what doesn't?
So first of all, I'm a croissant lover. I'm butter lover first before everything. So for me, a good croissant must have a good butter. You cannot make a bad product with, good product with bad ingredients. So first of all, good ingredients. But I was checking that also, croissant don't really have appellation. So it's a lot of different things that as long as the shape look like a croissant, you can call it a croissant. So this is a little bit tricky also. After that, there is some things that, for me, the croissant is croissant. It's plain. Nice butter, AOP butter. Usually, even in Japan, for my butter, for the croissant we use in Paka Tokyo, we use AOP French butter. I think it's very important.
So AOP, for people that maybe don't know, is like a French appellation when something comes from a specific region and it's officially approved.
Exactly. So very high quality. But I try with some butter in Japan. The butter in Japan is good. It's not the problem. But the butter for croissant, it's a special one. It's 82% fat and it has to be semi-dry. So it's a specific butter.
Okay.
You can't do really good croissant with the butter you buy in the supermarket. It's different type. So that saying, in France, we have a lot of butter maker who knows what the baker needs. And so they make the specific butter. So this is the reason why I love to source local ingredients, but butter for croissant
has to come and be made specifically for that.
Yeah. So that saying, after that, we do, for me, croissant, it's a must-have. I have a little story also about the croissant in Paka Tokyo. When I arrived, they have an issue with the bakery section. So we have to buy the croissant outside and it was frozen and everything. So not very good quality. So when I arrived in the hotel, I was like, okay, my mission is to make sure we have the best croissant in town. So basically, I changed the recipe. We work a lot with my bakery chef and everything. And we arrive at that. And actually, before we close the hotel, we have Chef Alain Ducasse.
Oh, okay.
Who came to have actually a breakfast in Paka Tokyo, eat the croissant and said that, wow, I wish that some hotel in Paris have this quality of croissant. So we went from 4 years for frozen croissant to validated by Alain Ducasse croissant.
It's quite a compliment.
It's quite a compliment.
Maybe the same level as a Taiwanese customer saying that your cake is not too sweet.
Something like that. That's true.
But fundamentally, if it has a shape, it can be called like this. But generally, for you, it's like this.
The thing is, sometimes you can see also some like a soft bread in the shape of a croissant, and people will call this croissant. And sometimes you can see the one is flat.
Yes.
Oh my God, this is an abomination. Sorry, but when you spend so much time to do a beautiful layers and take care of having the most beautiful shape, and a croissant is 3 days of work. You need time. You need to prepare the dough. You need to make the lamination and then proofing, baking. I make it, shortcut. But yeah, it's a lot of work. For at the end, people just like crush it. Wow, that's a no-go. No way for me. One day my chef baker do it in Pakai Tokyo. I can tell you he will never do it again.
Okay.
I make him understand
they will all
that.
take notes.
So yeah, and then for the croissant Mont Blanc, basically this is something which people start to love also the croissant with the filling inside, right? So I've decided like to create this croissant, not because I like it, but because I want to also respond to the trend in the markets and everything, and to have this kind of product. Sometimes also when you work in a hotel, you have to do that. If it's my own business, maybe it's different, but so basically I take this croissant. Inside I put Nama cream, so just fresh cream with some chestnut pieces inside. And on top, I pipe the chestnut cream, look like the Mont Blanc, to cover actually the croissant.
Okay.
And then I was surprised that it was so well received. I got a lot of, even the staff in the hotel who come to see me. I remember the director of room before always come to see me, say, "Hey, wow, your croissant is fantastic. I just buy 10 for my family and my neighbor and everything." Even our staff become, my colleague become fan of that. When I was very surprised.
So you sometimes get to go out on the floor and see the guests. You said that.
Oh, that's 50% of my time.
You mentioned early at the very beginning of our conversation that this is kind of why you went into becoming a pastry chef. You wanted to make people happy. What kind of questions, reactions do you see from the customers in Japan? Is there a lot of interest into understanding how this is being made and how this is?
So one thing, just before I start that, one thing frustrates me sometimes is because I cannot really speak Japanese. So I feel that some customers really want to ask me questions, but they feel like they have the
language barrier.
This language barrier. So before we close the hotel, I also go around the table, but with someone to help me for translation, And I think it's crucial and very important. Because if I go alone and I say, "So how are people?" "Oh yes, it was good." No, but not really having question. But if I have someone with me help me to translate, suddenly very interesting question pop out. And I have got a lot of guests who's coming every time we change the menu. They are very happy to, for example, for the afternoon tea. We have the autumn afternoon tea, so they change the yukata with the leaves on it, and they come and then ask me, "Oh, so chef, how is your inspiration? Why you use these ingredients and everything?" So I feel the market also and the customer in Japan are very mature. For example, I have questions like, "Oh, where did you buy your chestnut, for example, your chestnut paste?" I say, "Oh, this one is come from France, but I also use this one from Japan." "Oh, which brand you use? Because last time I went to France and I visited the factory." I was like, "Whoa, okay." So they know what they're talking about, and I feel like you can't BS your customer, you know what I mean? Like you really have to be straight, and they knows what they're eating. And I think in terms of pastry, I have a lot of guests who are very, very big knowledge about pastry, you know what I mean? So it's super interesting.
You learned traditional pastry making in France. A lot of these classics come from France, but not all of them. And in Japan, they have their own wagashi and their own kind of, I don't want to call them pastries, but confectioneries, I guess that will fall in that category. Have you learned to work with them, and how different is it from?
So actually, yes. First, I'm very curious. I'm a very curious person, so I love to try different things, like learn about matcha. I went to Kyoto and learn the ceremony and see how it's done and everything. But for the sweet, I challenged myself back in autumn 2023. Creating tsukimi afternoon tea. So tsukimi is like it's coming soon actually, right? It's the autumn festival basically. And I say, okay, for this afternoon tea, I want to just use Japanese ingredients, but red bean, green bean, and my team was very surprised. Like, chef, why you order like a green pea and why you order like a white bean paste and this kind of thing? Hey, I want to try something, So of course they were very surprised because I don't have the Japanese culture of using those ingredients. So I was using those Japanese ingredients traditional for wagashi, but in the French way.
Oh.
So it was because, all my recipes and everything. So basically I want to do like a cream or cremeux or a sponge, but using those ingredients and incorporate them. So I do a lot of tests and I was not knowing where I was going. So it was very interesting. And I was, of course, like we say in pastry, you really have to be precise for many things, Or once you have your base, you have your base. But for this afternoon tea, I challenged myself just to, okay, take a bit of this ingredient with this ingredient, mix it. Okay, how it tastes? Not there. Okay, continue. Do something. Okay, try to bake it. And I think it's the afternoon tea will give me the biggest challenge in terms of creating the recipes. But I think the most interesting as well, because I really learned a lot about a lot of different ingredients and taste. And sometimes I like it, and I like my staff trying it. And I was like, I cannot eat that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they were thinking it's very strange to have a green pea cream in a choux with a green pea on top. I think it was like, for me, was interesting and how to say, a little bit more creative. But then I realized that some of my colleagues were not ready for that. And so I didn't go extreme, and we do this afternoon tea. And it was actually quite interesting. For example, one of the how to say, the piece on the side was like also the croissant chestnut, but I make it in a different way. So I cut half of the croissant, I put some cream inside, some chestnut, and then we go around the table with a small Mont Blanc machine to actually pipe the chestnut Mont Blanc cream in front of the guest.
Oh, so
And
at
this
the
was
table
so
service,
this was so popular that I also do it in other countries, like in Jakarta. We have a Japanese afternoon tea. I also make it there. So yeah, it was a special afternoon tea, but I think I learned a lot of things about Japanese traditional pastry.
The hotel has been under renovation for a while. Your first hotel experience was an opening. Now you're about to experience a reopening.
Yeah.
What have you been up to during the period where the hotel was closed? And how do you plan and prepare for this reopening?
So first of all, for the reopening, I'm super happy because, mainly in the hotel business, when you reopen a hotel, it's mostly the guest point of view will change. But for Park Hyatt Tokyo, it's quite different because it's actually the public area will remain quite the same, just a little bit revamped. But the back of house changed a lot. And I'm super lucky because I have the most beautiful kitchen in Tokyo right now. My kitchen is brand new. It's almost double size of what I had before.
That's always a challenge, right? The kitchens are limited in space and you still have to output.
Yeah. And for me, I'm super happy because we discussed a lot about how to make it bigger and better. I'm at the 39th floor. I have the view on the Skytree and old Shinjuku. The view is beautiful. And the inside the kitchen is fantastic. So super lucky. That saying, during the closing period of the hotel, actually, I have been traveling a lot because since January 2024 now, I've been promoted for Asia Pacific pastry chef for the hotel group. So it means that I have to go to a new hotel opening, and a lot of other hotels ask me to come to support, to teach, or to make a promotion for afternoon tea. So I've been twice to India, in Mumbai. I've been to Seoul. I've been to Singapore. Where I've been to Abu Dhabi for also a promotion. Macau. Where else? Well,
wherever
Jakarta,
there's a Park Hyatt
Kuala
or
Lumpur,
Hyatt
Singapore.
hotel.
Yeah. So I've been traveling a lot for the last years. And I've been lucky to do that as well because I've seen many things. I also create like a network, so meeting those people. make a lot of new friends, have a lot of new experience in terms of culinary experience, but also human experience. So yeah, that was fantastic. Yeah, fantastic year. Very tiring, but very good.
Now the reopening date is coming up soon. With the reopening, even though maybe some areas don't change too much for the customers, there is going to be some anticipation, some excitement. Right. People will want to know what's going to be on the dessert menu, what kind of cakes. Is it going to be a lot of surprises. For that part of the preparation, how much time does it take you? Do you feel like extra pressure that you need to recreate a menu, or what is
So the advantage of doing a reopening is we know what was the hotel before. So it's easier, I will say, in terms of planification, to know where we're going and what guests will expect. So for example, for New York Grill, we know exactly what our guests will waiting for. So it's way easier than 100% open. Of course, right now, we are just back in the hotel since last week. We are just waiting for some details and ingredients to come to start cooking. Within probably a few days, we'll be able to start cooking and to start making all those new cakes. Not everything will be new. I will still keep the signature and keep what I know people will appreciate. The most challenging part for me, for the reopening, and for me and my team, will be afternoon tea. Because we are changing the concept of the afternoon tea. We want to modernize a little bit, get rid of the stand, that you always have.
The traditional kind of 3-layered stand you see in all hotels.
So this one with Hyatt, mostly within Park Hyatt, actually the brand all over the world, we try to get rid of it and create like more an experience of course by course, and also try to not focus on having one bite-sized little pastry, but a little bit bigger, to be able to offer something more interesting in terms of texture and in terms of taste. Because when you do like one bite-sized pastry, the size is very limited. So the feeling when you eat a cake, it's very quick, and sometimes it's no really good texture or good texture actually. So for this reopening afternoon tea, we will really make the size a little bit bigger, so we will be able to focus on the highest quality pastry. Of course, it will be challenging because it's a big change for our customer, but I feel we go in the right direction. For this afternoon tea also, we have a very nice new gourmet bar, which doesn't exist before. So we are going to be able to have chefs working live in front of the guest, which is something we didn't have in Paca Tokyo before. So I'm super excited about this, and I have a lot of other projects, of course, coming out for that.
As a customer, how do you have any recommendations for how to really enjoy and appreciate a pastry? Chefs like yourself spend a lot of time conceptualizing, thinking about how to make it, what to put together, trial and error, and then you put together a cake that can be the size of, I don't know, like a tennis ball, which could be eaten in like 2-3 bites, and then it's finished. And I sometimes wonder, like, how can I get a better appreciation for like all the work and the thought and the flavors that have been put into
the best things is you finish it in less than 1 minute and you eat it all. For me, is the best. Like if you give me the plate and it's already empty, means you like it, so it's perfect. Of course, for us, we do like ephemeral art. So basically, it's like you put something in the plate. The most important, I think, for me, is to serve it at the right temperature.
Okay.
I think that's the crucial part. Sometimes, you eat a cake, if it's too cold, you can't really have the whole flavor. If it's too hot, you don't have the right texture. So you need to make sure that you serve it at the right temperature. I think that's the most challenging part, because you can't really touch the cake, and the temperature inside is really by the feeling, So that's the first step. And of course, for me, the best answer and the best comment you can give me is to all the plates come back and they're all empty, Like,
That's... So don't worry about it too much. Just enjoy the cake.
Correct. Correct.
What in Japan, I guess maybe one of the most famous cakes is a Christmas strawberry shortcake.
Shortcake, yes. Well, actually, it's all year long.
All year
If-
long, but on Christmas it's in
Yes,
high demand.
yes.
You have to book it in advance at many locations.
Correct.
What makes this cake so special, so popular, and is there a way to?
I think cakes in general it's about memories. It brings you because it's only a pleasure. It's not something that you need to be, to be alive.
Mhm.
So it's just pleasure. And people who love strawberry shortcake, and I can understand why, because it's so simple. And if you have a good like amaro strawberry inside, it's good. And then I just feel like people just want to recreate the memory that they have since they are kids, or they have before during their family time when they have for Christmas. So yeah, I think that's the market about. But frankly speaking, it's not only in Japan that shortcake is very famous. If you go to Taiwan, if you go to Singapore, Malaysia, they also love strawberry shortcake very much.
Interesting.
Yeah. In Japan, it's masterized, so it's next level. I think because of the cream and because of the quality of the strawberry. In Taiwan, you have good strawberry, but it's only during a certain period. If you want to have all year long, it's mostly the one import from USA, which is tasteless, sadly. But in Japan, you have like the season is for the strawberry is longer. The cream from Hokkaido is like fantastic. So yeah, I think all those ingredients put together, it makes a good cake. And the advantage also of the shortcake, and I think people knows that as well, it's a cake would never go to the freezer. You know what I mean? It's a freshly cake made. So I think that makes also a difference, because people who buy that, they know that the cake has been done maximum the day before or the night before, and then they can eat it freshly. So I think that also make a difference for people's choice.
You have the reopening coming soon, and then I guess your focus will be on making this run smoothly and bringing in new concepts, new desserts for the coming year. What are some of your other projects that you are working on or you would like to work on as a pastry chef?
So of course, at this moment, my main focus, as you said, is really to reopen Park Hyatt Tokyo. I think it's a big challenge because all the eyes for all the Hyatt company are on it, because it's really an iconic hotel. So my main focus right now is that. But still, I have some project that's coming out. For example, next month I'm going to California for a week, invited by the CEO of Hyatt actually for a special event. Is the CEO of Hyatt inviting 40 top CEO in USA,
Wow.
basically to play golf, not only, but and then they asked me to go to support for the gala dinner and bring some of my signature dessert. So I'm very honored to do that as well. So that will be probably the last travel of the year, because after that, I need to stay focused on Tokyo. And next year, I have a few things about may probably go to Thailand to make trainings for other Hyatt chef. Some collaboration also waiting for approval. So we'll see where it goes, but maybe Korea, maybe Singapore. And there's a project which I want to do for many years. It's like a collaboration book with one of my friends also from Taiwan, which is doing illustration. She's a very talented drawer. So Instagram is illustration in Wonderland. She's fantastic. We are working again together right now, actually, to work on for some specific menu for the reopening. But I wish to do something more with her, maybe a recipe book or something like that.
Oh, exciting.
Yeah. So it's a project that I have for a long time, but I really have to do. I was thinking I will have time during the hotel closure, but I was too busy. So
a lot of exciting plans ahead.
Yeah.
A lot of new ideas that you probably have of things
Actually,
you want to try.
always, because I'm planning now already for next year for the festive season.
Next year, Christmas,
next
so
year,
2026 Christmas.
Correct. I try to work at least 8 months in advance because creation takes time. I need to make sure everything is as I want. So time cannot be an issue. So I have to make sure that I have enough time and people understand also what I want to do. So the earliest, the better.
If you have your own shop, you can do whatever you want. If you're
Yeah.
part of a group like Park Hyatt, there are certain expectations,
Exactly.
certain standards. How much freedom do you have to kind of bring your creations to the menu?
That's a good question because it depends on the project. Of course, I have the chance to be actually working for 10 years now for Hyatt. So, the people knows me and knows where I want to go and kind of trust me, which is good. But of course, on some project also, they really want to make sure that what they expect will be what I will do. So it really depends on the project, but most of the time, the approval is quite easy to get.
We talked about so many things today. Is there something that's important for you in the world of pastry or your experience in Japan that I didn't ask you about that maybe you wanted to bring up?
I think we almost talk about everything.
I asked this question because every time we turn off the camera, there's always a question that kind of comes up. So I try to kind of make space for this, but we did cover a lot of things. And you have a fascinating story and a lot of insights into.
Well, I think the most important for me and for the people who cooking, it's all about patience. I mean, you have to be passionate. It's not only about like just I like to do at home or something like that. No, to have this, since I'm 12 years old, I'm 42 now, so it's going to be 30 years that I'm baking. And well, by saying it, it feels strange, but yeah, the patience still there. The day I will not have this passion anymore, I think I will need to change job or something or do something else. But yeah, so far the passion is growing all the time, and the willing of baking is there. So as long as I have that, I mean, I will be super happy.
Well, thank you, Julien, for coming all the way to Osaka to share your passion. And hopefully some of our listeners will get to experience it in person at the reopening of the Park Hyatt Tokyo.
Everybody's welcome.
Mont Blanc Croissant or some of your upcoming surprise new pastries.
Afternoon tea will be fantastic. Please come try.
I hope I can make a stop sometime in the future.
Sure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for listening and watching. This was Unpacking Japan, and we'll be back in the next episode. Bye. Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I did. Please hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on future conversations. And we'd love to hear from you. Share your thoughts in the comment section down below. And if you enjoyed this episode, here are a couple more that we think you'll enjoy. Thanks again for your support, and we'll see you next time.